Right.
Russia exists on the back of its oil price. Canada exists on the back of its oil market, I should say. Brazil, Petrobras. And I mean, there's more than you think. Norway, all these countries function. The reason the Quebecois, even as much as they want to be, their liberal greenery, the reason that no one has to work in Quebec and they have so many face painting festivals and jugglers and dancing in the gated city is because they're spending oil money from Alberta while they protest oil. Right? I mean, that's the sort of narrative of the world. I mean, and I'm using that as an extreme, but we're all that. Everybody's that, right? It's easy to be against oil. We're all against oil, right? It's killing us. We're all also oil users and beneficiaries, right? The lights come on, the computer comes on, blah blah. Anyway, the threat to political the political instability that can and will result from. Forget this thing that happened with the oversupply glut and basically too much oil to store. I mean, it's never happened. It's insane. But let's say oil settles at $5 or $10 a barrel for the next 6 to 9, 10 months. There was so much money spent in Canada on fracking, in America on fracking. Russian oil is not easy to get out of the ground in terms of the costs. And all the big banks in Texas, all the banks in the Middle East, were all financing oil companies to extract oil from the ground, yeah? And they were investing the equivalent of $50 a barrel in the extraction process, such that if the oil is worth less than $50 a barrel, they lose money on it. That has gone around the world for the past 10 years, 20 years with the fracking boom. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The only person who can possibly make money on oil at $5 or $10 a barrel is the Middle East. Because the cost of taking a barrel of oil out of the ground in Saudi Arabia is much, much lower than the cost of taking a barrel out of the ground in Norway or in the Gulf of Mexico or in Canada or in Brazil.
So this could maybe even strengthen some place like Saudi Arabia then, right? Because they have an advantage price-wise?
Oh, yeah. Of course. They got it bankrupts all the other petrostates, lets the Saudis choke the world to death, and then come back in and start to dial the price up a little bit after everybody else goes bankrupt. But that's not even the issue. Is the real question with a situation like this is, well, how much political instability is possible, and will it result in fundamental military conflict?
Right.
I mean, I'm not making any prediction, and I think that the odds are still very low that happens. I'm not alarmed, but we're playing with fire. I mean, this is foundational stuff here.
Okay, so I mean, this could be wow, this is really something fun. That just not even talking about the petrodollar.
Right. Well,
go ahead.
No. I mean but because we just had the whole dollar conversation. So you have the situation where the U.S. has invented trillions of dollars to exclusively give it away to rich people because that's what the Democrats want, as we've discussed, right?
Mm-hmm.
96-0 to make sure you give trillions of dollars to rich people only. Make sure that the big burger chains get their PPP loans, but make sure that no small businesses do. I mean, the whole thing, I was reading more about it today, Jimmy, so I was just becoming fantastically horrified. Anyway, so you have the money printing. One of the two big things that defend the dollar and the money printing is, one, the oil market and oil being priced in dollars, and two, the U.S. military, right? So the reason that the United States can abuse the earth by diluting its currency by the trillion and not suffer from inflation, not end up like Zimbabwe or the Italian lira, which would be the natural consequence of this behavior in a rational market, is because of the reserve currency status which is that much more compromised and continues to be that much more compromised, both by the political agenda of the United States and now the oil markets.
Yeah. So what people don't understand is that the petrodollar props up our dollar in a sense that Saudi Arabia, in exchange for the use of our military, has agreed to monetize whenever someone buys oil from Saudi Arabia, they have to do it with U.S. dollars. And
Bingo.
so then the Saudi Arabia then buys U.S. treasuries with that, which is helping prop up, which is why when they passed the law in Congress that allowed people to sue Saudi Arabia for 9/11, Barack Obama got on a plane and flew to Saudi Arabia to make sure they didn't stop the petrodollar arrangement. And a lot of people have been predicting it. As soon as that goes, it'll go, and then or when our dollar doesn't become the reserve note of currency in 10 years, that's also the death knell to our economy. We become a third world country. We already are. When you have 80% of workers living paycheck to paycheck, and now I just saw a headline.
And a government taking trillions and a government in the biggest biological crisis since the pandemic of 1918. And they're taking that opportunity to take trillions of dollars and give it to rich people and politically aligned people. It's stunning.
It is stunning. I keep saying,
and then have the most vulnerable be no UBI, no Medicare for all,
nothing.
And yes, you got to go deliver the mail. Yes, you got to go, deliver groceries.
Dylan, I as far as I can tell, and I watch a lot of shows, I'm the only one who's proportionately upset about this. The way they should be. No, everyone.
Are other people comprehending more of this over time?
No.
It's so ridiculous.
Well, it seems like AOC is figuring it out because she came out with a big 9-minute video today talking about how she's not going to support the next stimulus, which too bad. You already blew it. You guys lost all your leverage. They already got their trillions of dollars. They don't give a shit if there's another fucking bailout for regular people, AOC. You already sold them out. It's too late. So no, people aren't.
But she voted no, didn't you hear? She voted no in the voice vote. I heard her.
Yeah,
everybody said yes, and I heard her voice saying no. Just think about the fact that Nancy Pelosi shifted it to a voice vote so that there was no record. Anyway, we're rehashing past issues, but unfortunately, it's the most significant and most destructive act of American financial and political history, maybe ever. Certainly much bigger than and so it's worthy of reiterating. I hate to say it.
Yes. No, but I'm going to keep reiterating it till I find people, at least in the progressive news space, who start talking about it in the framing it's supposed to be talked about. Not that it was another bad vote and we're going to get it back in the next stimulus and it was just a bad vote.
96-0. 96-0, and then they went with a voice vote to cover up their consent in the House.
And so,
remember, it was the Democrats who gave you the mandate to buy private insurance. I mean, the illusion that Barack Obama and the left or Joe, it's the path upon which this country shall die.
I remember watching you after they passed the ACA or Obamacare, and you were interviewing Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and you were asking her, can you square the circle of you just passed a new health care bill and the big pharma and health insurance company stocks are through the roof today? And she didn't have an answer for that because what you were pointing out to her is that this is a giveaway to the already rich and rapacious organizations that deliver health care.
You just passed a policy forcing everybody to buy from a monopoly. I mean, it is the most and then Obama and the left run around acting like they just did something for you.
Right, which is what they were doing after.
I'll happily
Go ahead. I'll happily
Sorry.
what?
No, you go ahead. No, you're saying it's what they were doing after the stimulus a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, they were sending me email after email after email from the Democrats and Bernie and AOC talking about all the stuff they got in that bill for us. It was just nuts. I don't know if you're on those. I donate to some candidates, so
No.
I get on those stupid lists, probably when I donated to your campaign. Yeah. But anyway.
I know. I'm sorry I ran. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, Dylan, this is, again, every day it seems like there's another unprecedented economic happening that we need to get
Well,
explained.
isn't it amazing? There's so much oil on the ocean coming in that there's no place to put it, to the point where became worthless, and they had to give you the oil for free and pay you $37 to find a place to store it.
But just like
But I do have to calibrate that and say that's only for the May delivery contract. The June contract, the July contract, the August contract are all, $18, $17, and yeah, maybe they're going to come down more. Probably will to $10, $5, something. So it's the most horrifying thing you've ever heard, right? Well, how could oil be free plus $30, right? I'll take a barrel of oil and $30. Yes.
So now what about?
But that's not entirely. That's just for this particular moment. So when they say this is a technical issue,
right?
What they're talking about is it's a function of the May delivery contract, which got overwhelmed by the supply, combined with the fact that the supply chain was pushing too much oil into it 3 months ago. Like it was like a pig working its way through a snake, and then the pig finally arrived on the shore today.
Right.
But again, June oil, July oil are at low prices compared to historicals, obviously because nothing's flying and all the rest of that. But it's not worthless, and they're not paying you to keep it.
So now, oil companies still use debt to finance oil exploration, meaning they borrow money from a bank to do that. First of all, why do they do that? Why do they borrow money when they have billions of dollars in reserve that they could just use themselves without borrowing at interest? Why do they do that?
Because you're saying, why do they use bank debt to finance the oil business?
Yes.
Because you make more money that way. It's leverage.
So
it's just, you're using it's just a way to leverage yourself, so that you basically, for every dollar that you're putting into the expenditure of the extraction to set up the oil fields in the Gulf of Mexico, for every dollar I put in, the bank puts in $10 or $2 or $5, and then I pay off the debt, and I keep all the upside on the equity after I pay the debt. It's just a way to get leverage on the investment. But the issue with it is, it's not just the oil companies that are compromised by what's going on in the oil markets. The banking, slices of the banking sector are compromised. And guess who owns a lot of bank and oil stocks?
I don't know. Tell me.
The pensions.
The mutual funds and the pensions. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about.
The teacher's pension, the police pension. Who do you think's going to get really jammed when this is all said and done? And all of a sudden they're going to say, the pensions are screwed because oil and banks flipped upside down. There's layers and layers of hell.
So if they give $1 trillion to the bank because the oil company went belly up, and they don't give $1 trillion to the pension fund, won't there be some problems?
Yes. Yeah. Well, no. What they do is they use the need to prop up the pensions as justification. So when you say to me, why would they do this with the banks? Why would they? The leverage the banks have is, if you don't prop up the banks, the pensions go bye-bye.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
And so if you're in the meeting and you're thinking, okay, I would never give the banks that kind of money. You're Mr. Big Guy, or I'm Mr. Big Guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay. Hope you're okay. Getting rid of all of the healthcare, civil service, and teacher pensions.
But this is
that's what you call a hostage taking.
Yeah. But this oil glut, isn't this a precursor for the future that we're moving into another industrial revolution where energy production is non-localized, and you sell.
Sure. Sure. Yes. But what's the worst possible thing for the transition to a post-fossil fuel economy?
What?
Cheap oil.
Oh, right. Because there's no incentive.
When gas is $1.50 a gallon in LA, what's the big hurry to go buy a Tesla?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you're right.
When gas is $5.50 a gallon, you're like, get a Prius.
So what you're saying is the drive was always to try to make renewable energy cost efficient, meaning less money per kilowatt hour than it would cost to produce it with oil. And once you could get that down below what it costs the oil, you're going to win. And so now you're saying with oil being this cheap, you're never going to win. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad I can follow you sometimes. It's fun.
No, I think you followed me the whole time.
Okay.
I love the light bulb on the futures that went off at the beginning of our conversation.
Okay. All right. Well,
You say, like, that's why they call it a futures market.
that's what it is. You're bragging.
That's what that is. That's why they use the word future.
Well,
but I think that the 99.9% of the world doesn't know any of these things. But you can see when we talk about them, the complexity is an illusion.
yes, it is an illusion. It's not. It's actually not that complex.
There you go.
It's just like learning a new card game or something. Like here's how Uno works. Here's how our hearts work,
Right.
and you just have to learn, and that's it.
Or statistics in Major League Baseball,
Right.
or any of those things people learn.
Yeah.
Fantasy football.
Yeah. What's his RBI?
Whatever.
What's his RBI average? What's his slugging percentage?
Exactly.
What's his slugging? What the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm not a baseball fan. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Slugging percentage. That's hilarious. All right. Well, again,
All right.
just amazing. Thanks for talking. Do you want to tell us where you're at in the part of the country? Or is it
I've been maintaining my position here in the Northeast.
okay?
It's not moving around as it's frowned upon.
Yeah. All right. Well,
For good reason. I don't take issue with it.
and
Like I said, if we could just get if everybody just stays in the room for 10 days, we'd be fine. But
What do
they're
you-
not going to do it.
I know that's never gonna like that. Just it's like, why don't they just
Never.
goddamn do that already? They just
Never, ever. Also, yeah, I mean,
So
it's
what
like,
would-
there's there are sexually transmitted diseases, like whatever, that are viruses, where if people just didn't have sex for 10 days, like everybody on the earth, they would go away forever. But come on, what do you want from people? They're unreliable at best. On a good day, they're unreliable.
Yes, I know. All right. Well, it's good talking to you during the apocalypse.
You as well. Yeah. No, listen. Let us enjoy. Let us spread joy and a spirit of community and purpose. It's a beautiful moment. The shift is upon us.
And
The world is shifting.
the world is shifting. It's happening. So everybody, if you
Yeah.
want to hear more about this in depth, Dylan has a podcast he does for Tasty Trade, and they go over to tastytrade.com to find that, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Wednesday afternoons, Truth or Skepticism with myself and Tom Sosnoff. A version of this with a little bit more.
Yeah. So it's,
Tom's a Tom's a maniac trader, so he's deep into the money.
yeah. So instead of Dylan talking to a comedian, he's actually talking to a guy who's a trader. So
Right.
yeah. But I like it because I get to filter what you say into how a dumb guy could understand it.
Yeah, I think that there's a huge amount of value. I really enjoy this. So,
Okay.
Listen, it's nice to talk to you.
Okay, Dylan. Talk to you later, buddy.
All right, talk to you. Bye.
All right, so there you go. Boy, that's quite a headline, too, by the way. Less than half of LA County residents still have jobs amid coronavirus. Holy F.
You know, I think about all of our friends in LA who are either performers,
Right.
showrunners,
Or
writers,
actors, whatever.
agents, managers.
I know people who work in costuming, wardrobe. Look at all our
Set
friends
decor.
in wardrobe. Or how about set decor? Set decorators. Gotta keep them decorated. Oh. All right, so let's take some questions. That was a great segment with Dylan Ratigan.
Yes. You know, I'm still excited about your upcoming segment.
Oh, but the thing?
About the thing, Jimmy D.
Yeah,
about
it's coming.
the
So
thing.
we're going to come back. We're going to do the AOC thing.
All right, ladies and
make a coffee. I'll
gentlemen.
be right back.
I left off at like around 4:22.
Gotta keep them separated.
It was with Yap Yap. I read Yap Yap. I'll read it again, Yap Yap. AI is a new tool that economically liberates us all if used right. Don't be afraid of the tool. Be afraid of the users.
Don't be ignorant.
Don't be ignorant.
ignorant.
Thank you, Jimmy. Isn't he nice? All right, here we go. Love your work, guys. Lots of love from Australia. Chad, I'm a gal. Victor, sadly, it's a fact. People need a leader to rally behind and drive them forward, and perhaps multiple leaders could rise up out of general strike movement. Hey, Mary Mackey. Thank you, Jimmy Steph. Sam Holo Kinu Graham talk with Caleb Maupin about political grifters. Ooh, nice rec. Victor, hell yeah, I'm not donating to any politician anymore, only Jimmy. Isn't that painful? Like, I know we're going to see somebody who's running in the Green Party. I know we're going to see somebody who's an independent, and I'm going to be really looking at my money differently, going, really, how can I trust the process? I'm sure I'll donate to Green Party, independent. Oh, hey, hell yeah, I got you, Victor. Connell, Republicrats and Democrats. You are correct, sir. They're all in it together. Theatrics are played out. The lie is never hidden anymore. Yeah, but you know, isn't it interesting how even though Bernie Sanders endorsed Hillary Clinton in 2016, we're like, come on, Bernie. And even though we knew what he did in 2016, we're like, come on, Bernie. And even though we heard him say, Joe Biden, he's a good friend of mine, we're like, come on, Bernie. And it was like on March 15th, his debate with Joe Biden, even though Tulsi Gabbard had gotten enough delegates to go on that stage, she was excluded. Women, aren't you kind of fucking going, what the F? Americans, aren't you going, what the F? What if it was the candidate that you wanted, an independent or green? They've already set the table that this bullshit will continue, that they'll be able to exclude. Anyways, he had his moment March 15th. He didn't seize it. He's, you know, he has pushed the conversation. He definitely has. And we need to continue. And I guess we learned you can't have a hero. Don't have a hero. Have maybe, we talked about policies or platform ideas that you can rally around. I get that people want to be outside. I get that people want to, you know, don't want to do this social distancing, and they're outside and they're petitioning and they're showing that they're unified in the idea that they want to be outside and get back to work. But how about, as you're doing that, how about you're also saying we're rallying for Medicare for all, so my brothers and sisters can go back to work and be protected like they do in other first world countries. Yikesy. All righty, here we go. The AI Convo reminds me of Sons of Liberty AI Convo. A game in 2001 predicted a lot of what's going on now. Look up Selection for Societal Sanity. Ooh, thank you, H2K. Trump is using the pandemic to destroy the post service when people need it more than ever. And you know how we were talking about, it looks like Jeff Bezos and Trump don't like each other. And then Whitney reminded us by saying, you know, it's all theatrics. They ultimately, oligarchs are going to stick together. Amazon actually uses the postal service right now to make deliveries. UPS also uses the postal service because they have routes that go everywhere, unlike their planes, their trucks, their services. So it's not just Trump. For decades, they've been trying to destroy the postal service, something that works. I'm going to put a stamp on a postcard and it's going to get there in less than 2 days. Come on. That's a system that works. Chuck Zlatkin. Hey, Chuck. Trump is using the pandemic. Oh, I read that one already. Chuck. JT, the Ronies have taught me that we live in a third world country with a Gucci belt. Now the oil is $37 a barrel. Will I get paid to get gas? Right, I hear ya. Maisie, happy for 2020. Double 420. Oh my God, you are right. It's double 420. Andrew, so when I was a teacher, they would send you an email and they would say like, hey, be careful. You know, today kids might come to class high. And I was like, what do I do? Like, go to the door. Hey, how's it going? You know, like, to me, they came to high. And just so you know, in California, they don't drug test teachers because I think they're worried about the shit that they're going to find. No drug testing. No drug testing. Kids come to school high. That's funny. I guess 420. Boy, I mean, gosh, being a teenager now, whoa. during a pandemic. Oh, we think it's tough. Oh, I don't know how kids are doing it. That has to be, school is kind of an escape for a lot of kids. And also, this is an escape from school for a lot of kids. Here is your Bernie money. The money he would have gotten if he wasn't a sellout. You do far more with it than he ever would. Andrew, you're so sweet. Thanks very much. Bernie pushed the conversation to the left. Trying to stay positive. Ray Foley, I agree with Kyle Knitter about Corbett. He actually puts everyone to shame. Looking forward to having Corbett on. John McCracken. Thank you, John. Stereo Lab 00. Do the Dems or the GOP care about you? 2 words, Flint, Michigan. Elites to the expendables. Drop dead. Wow, right, Stereo Lab? We are expendable. Hey, 28 days later, 559. We need to back Joe Biden for prez. ... You know the ... You know the thing. Love you, Steph. I think that's a smiley face. Third party 2020. Yes, third party. Yes, third party. And there was somebody on the live chat the other day and said, Jimmy Dore, he never even talks about third party. Come on. Who are those? You're not really a person when you do that we've never talked about third party. We voted for Jill Stein here. We've had Jill Stein on the show. Come on. We have Green Party candidates on our show. Come on. So, third party, we talk about it. What do you talk about? Hey, T-Raiden Thunderbolt. Got my stimulus check, but won't spend. Section 2101 of CARES Act, line A says, is a credit against the tax imposed, a.k.a. the cheese in the trap. Let's say Chemic B. What happened to $180 million that we raised for Bernie, which was thrown into the flames? Brian Dawson is the authority on Epstein. Get him on the show. Jimmy, that's from Sergio. Jameson Doan, Graham's knuckle thing is just a running gag. Thank you, Jameson. Dylan, we are a worship society. God and politics cause the most unhappiness. No one is voted in will change system. Start with communities like Cartel. I hear you, Dylan. Christopher Nicholas, you shave the knuckles for wind resistance when throwing a punch. Lars Adriasen, donor slaves in the Congress was rejected. Vitamin C as children. Zero Divisor, how could a shovel help me dig a hole? I already have hands. X Omega, thank you so much. Brandon Hiles. Hey everybody, I'm at 438 and it's 514. X Omega, Brandon Hiles, turn up Jimmy's mic. Daniel Rodriguez, shaving knuckles is the quickest way to remove hair from knuckles, according to Google search. Jameson Doan, JD's crew, get Max Blumenthal on to talk about the danger of Jacobin and other left media staffed with establishment neocons, actors, undermining the left movement. I think the whole idea of plenty of people undermining the third party movement. We've seen it in action. Oh, I have a stomach ache. Hey, Liana, please have James Corbett on. Thanks, Steph and Jimmy. Thank you, Liana. Wesley Mank, support from Manchester, England. Oh, thank you so much, Manchester. Wesley Mank, the real Bamboonga. The market is saying, here, you, throw this away. What is this? Horizon Singularity is real. The dollar is based on oil. Oil is now worth negative money. Is the dollar now worth negative money? Woo. Yak yak. World U.S. work with Iran to stop Saudi strength. Would U.S. work with Iran to stop Saudi strength? Doesn't seem like they would, yak yak. Horizon Singularity is real. Now it looks like Medicare for all and the Green New Deal are the only way to save the economy. Global neoliberalism may be the most successful long con of all time. Thank you, V. Joanna Yuri, Josen, thank you so much. Abhi Sharma, in 2016, when Hillary lost, she literally ran into the woods. Where will Joe Biden go? Retirement home? They will lose and run away again. Depressing. Jimmy Steph, Puppy Chulamine is equally as upset about progressive voting for the bill. I would love to see him on our show. Thank you, Mona. Love the recommendation. Yes, I'm a fan of poppies. Yap, yap. AI will disrupt balance of power. And the printing press did, like the printing press did. The printing press destroyed monarchs. And AI will destroy capitalism as we know it. And as we know it, the way we are controlled will disappear. I don't know. Yap, yap. I like that you're hopeful about that. Ken Samaral, we Americans have the oil companies' backs. $0 barrel is covered by the bailout. Yikes. Zachary Royer, oil doesn't need a bailout. Cruise ships don't need a bailout. Airlines don't need a bailout. People's rights and liberties, yes. The real Bambunga. You know who would do a great job explaining this whole oil market fiasco? Axelrod. David Axelrod. Give me my passion. Axelrod. Sage and Fool. Again, the hidden secrets of money. YouTube series explains the money system in plain English. Got it. The hidden secrets of money. Sage and Fool again. Thank you. Jeffrey Lorien. Jimmy, please start Aggressive Progressives 2.0 with Graham and Poppy Chuliman. Poppy's rants are epic, and you can look like the guy you can look like the mellow guy in comparison. Thanks for the rack. I love it, Jeffrey. Jimmy and Steph, you are skinny legends, and I love and appreciate your show so much, Jake. That's hilarious. Jeff Headley, Dylan, B2B, Jimmy is the GOAT. I don't get it. Then I choose my Elon Musk plus Saudi Arabia equals Tesla. Remember? 2018 tweet. Thank you. Hey, Joanne Yeri Josen, a great book to read, The Ragged Trousered Philanthropists by Robert Tressel. Once again, a great book to read is The Ragged Trousered Philanthropists by Robert Tressel. Lone Ranger, Fight Tyranny. Jack Deckard, most never take delivery of oil. Speculators. Can you get, hey, magnetic perturbation? Thank you for the recommendation of Professor Richard Wolff, Caleb Maupin on the near future. Material conditions have drastically changed, and they are insightful for the moment. Oh, they totally are. Yes. Hey, Seamus Warren, be afraid of intent behind algorithms. Victor T, does anyone have a moment to join Green Party or what have you? Can we have a plan to follow Jimmy? Question mark. Jimmy, need a plan. We're not the plan, Victor. We're not organizing the plan. We're going to help facilitate the plan and get the message out there. We're not the leader or organizing any plan. That would work against what we're doing. Axe Smith, thank you so much. Regan Burrell, thank you, leading the way, handling the truth. Yo, from Brisbane on the Arizona border. Thank you so much, Regan. Jameson Doan, breaking DSA just confirmed Whole Foods, Amazon secretly tracking with heat mapping monitors of COVID employees.org strike to protest. Right? Again, breaking. The DSA confirmed Whole Foods, Amazon tracking workers with heat mapping monitors to signs of COVID. Employee.org strike to protest. Oh my God. Jack Deckard, oil speculators may include large institutions. Robert K, love you and Ratigan, making things clear. Eric G, people are looking for a hero. This is why we have Trump. Love you so much. From Erica Jill, thank you for everything. Stay vigilant. Kevin Mahoney, pity to see the progressive Dems fall in line the way they have. Props to Bernie for mobilizing a generation. But we need someone with a spine. You got it. I spoke too soon. Amazon WF actually secretly tracking employees with stat model rates, which stores at risk of unionizing / striking. Once again, I spoke too soon. Amazon, Whole Foods actually secretly tracking employees with stat model rates, which stores at risk of unionizing striking. That's interesting. Did you see that?
I spoke too soon.
They're tracking employees.
Who is?
Amazon and Whole Foods with.
Yes, I saw. Yes, I was going to put that in the show today, but I didn't have time.
Look at you, Jameson. Red Gladius. I'm glad I started buying gold after the recession. The dollar is going to crash with the oil market. Thank you, Red. MW.
Oh, buy
Lee,
gold.
1984. Get
gold.
Pepe Escobar on.
The gold is your insurance policy against inflation, right, or whatever.
Reed Harthold says, would love to see Steph debate Anna. I'd lose.
Steph's not a debate.
I'm not a debate.
Anna would chew you up and spit you out.
It would be funny. I'd be like, Anna, I like you. What's the big deal
Anna would
here?
spit you
I
out.
don't see, you've got a lot of facts on your side,
She would
but
chew-
my gut, Anna, that's my reaction is just my gut reaction.
Yeah. You see her debate Ann Coulter? Chewed her up and spit her out. She'd turn you into one of those.
I am no Ann Coulter, Jimmy. I just want to point that out to you. I have to take a quick break. Can
Ann Coulter's usually good on the debating. She's usually pretty, but
caved.
Anna crushed her.
Yeah. Yes, she did. I think the title was Anna Destroyed Ann Coulter.
Shreds.
Yes. I have two more comments to read. Reed, you're so sweet to even say that. That's hilarious. Craig Walker. Forget the party system. No parties. You are what you stand for. What do you think? I love it, Craig, that any of these people that are running for president in the Democratic Party that have to sign a loyalty oath that says, I will support the Dem nominee. That's exactly what we pointed out that Trump would never have done.
That's right.
A leader would never do that.
And that's why that's how you retain your power. Now, I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to vote for a year ahead of time. That gives away all my power. Okay.
This is Seamus. Would you mind inviting Jaron Lanier, a father of VR, on to discuss his work on Google, Facebook as behavioral modification empires? That's really interesting. I love that. And then Christopher Chamberlain. Christopher, were you the one? I believe you were the one that you sent Jimmy those lyrics. And he, I'm pretty sure it was you, Christopher. But anyways, Christopher Jimmy wants to know how I stay so pretty without beauty supplies.
We stocked up before
I've got my wigs.
Before the crisis.
All my wigs.
I'm thinking of getting a wig.
I think Flock of Seagulls wig.
What?
Like just a really big and bold statement. Maybe a Robert Goulet wig.
Do they make crew cut wigs? Wouldn't that be funny? They get a crew cut wig.
That'd be hard to put on. That's funny.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So it looks like a crew cut? Come on. I think I just came up with a new idea. I think it's $1 million idea. You think the Pet Rock made money? Everybody.
I think, you know what you did? Didn't you used to wear a bandana? Like when you worked out occasionally?
Yeah.
You did, right? I think you'd go with bandana.
A bandana like that. Like the guy from Bruce Springsteen's band.
Yes.
What's his name?
Please.
I
Me and
know.
names. Why do you do
Steph,
that to me?
Because I'm the same way.
But you do it to me and I'm
I'm
always
bad
like a
with
deer in the
names.
headlights. I'm like, oh my God. A name. I can't even believe it when I get a name. Weldon Fulton says, Weldon.
Footin'.
Don't get upset at me, Weldon.
Barefootin'.
He says, Steph. Everybody knows what that is. He goes, Steph, you're an effing hero. First, thanks for cleaning it up. My mom appreciates it. For reading all of this BS. Seriously, I love you and Jimmy. You are always welcome in Austin. You make my days great. Weldon, thank you. Weldon! Thank you so much. That is so sweet. All right, Jimmy, I have to take just a quick break so you can chit chat or sing. I just have to grab something to eat.
When will you say yes to me?
Oh, they love that, Jimmy. They love that.
Tell me quando. I'm looking for.
Let me just grab a quick snack.
You know that.
It's 4:20. Jimmy,
5:25.
I know, but it's 4:20.
Every day the sun comes up around her. She can make the birds sing harmony. Every drop of rain is glad it found her. Heaven must have made her just for me. When she smiles so warm and tender.
Stevie Van Zandt.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy, Danielle, and
A side for slow ride to see. Oh, ain't no woman like the one I got. Oh no, they don't come back to.
Cheetah better.
To make her happy doesn't take a lot. She don't ask for things, no diamond rings.
Neon Darkness says I look good in my wig.
Sew together like a hand in glove. Like pages in a letter. Ain't no woman like the one I love.
Oh, that was God.
She can fill me up when it's going down.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Okay.
Jimmy, Danielle wants
Someone just texted me. Dave Anthony just texted me.
No.
Jesus Christ. Dan, it's Dave.
Why isn't Dave?
Dave, it's about the quarantine. We do extended.
We go crazy, Dave.
We do extended shows. Sometimes we bring in a little singing before we do the AOC video. Here's the AOC video. It's loaded.
All right, let me go grab something really quickly.
She did a virtual press conference. You want me to wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second. You keep singing. You want to hold your dog?
Nope. So that's kind of so Dave, we have a new tradition now. I sing either an Engelbert Humperdinck song or maybe Lou Rawls. And this would be who sang that song? Ain't no woman like the one I got. Who sings that song? Oh, that's by the Four Tops. It would be the four, not the three, but the Four Tops. She can fill me up when it's down, I'm going. Okay, so there. So now I have to wait before we get to this, but I'll show you a little preview, just for kicks. Oh, it's a good thing. See, I tried. Good thing I did this a rehearsal before we do it for real, because I don't have the. See, this is the problem when I don't have my guys here with me. I think they set up everything before I enter the studio. Jesus Christ.
Jimmy, Danielle wants to know how long has Steph and Jimmy been together? Your work wife.
20 years. Why I like that. How about this? What about this?
I didn't do it again.
Went by like that.
That's you telling people how long you've been with your work wife?
All right, ready? I'm going to do this.
Okay, let me sit down. Let them know we'll return to the super chats.
So now, well, we return to the super chats in a sec. You know that we made a big stink out of Ocasio-Cortez proclaimed. Well, she actually didn't proclaim that she voted no. She said she would have, and then people reported it as she voted no. She didn't vote no on the stimulus that screws us for a generation. So, I was pretty much the only one out there. The Intercept did an article saying she voted no, even though she didn't vote no, and she didn't say she voted no. She said she would have voted no. Is there something burning?
No, there's nothing burning.
Oh, okay. And I just see. Are you sure?
Yes, it was this.
Oh, okay. So, and now people are starting to realize that you just gave $4 trillion away and you didn't get any health care for anybody.
Wow.
And you didn't get a UBI, any payments. And other countries are doing first of all, other countries already have health care and they're doing UBIs because they know they have to. And you guys all voted for this thing. Your leadership put together a bill like this. And then you guys left town till May. And so now people are starting. So now she's doing this. So now it's starting. She's trying to get out in front of it. The next stimulus bill where they're going to screw us again.
We're not going to get anything.
Or we're not going to get anything because they already gave away the store. They have no leverage now because the people who they need to get stuff from already got their part. They already got their $4.2 trillion. So now she's going to try and get it. So now let's see what happens. Let's see how this goes. Here we go. Ready?
As many people may know, and as some may know, I represent, by many metrics, the most heavily impacted congressional district in America by COVID-19. And I just want to reiterate how important it is that we get health coverage, that we get recurring larger payments, $2,000 per family plus $1,000 per child.
I agree with you. Those two things are super important, and we must have them. Healthcare and a $2,000 payment to each person during this crisis. I get it. Why didn't you make sure that happened already? We're going on to the fourth stimulus bill. Why didn't you make sure that your leadership got that in the first bill, where you still had leverage? Why? First of all, no one's asking these questions. No one will ask her a question. She won't take my questions. She won't return my email. She won't. So if you have access to her, and I know some people who watch the show do, would you ask her that? Why didn't you get this in the first bill, and why didn't you demand your leadership put it in the third one? The CARES Act, why didn't you have them do that? That would be my question. And what if your leadership doesn't put it in the bill this time? What are you going to ever call them out for it? And are you going to try to make sure there's a recorded vote this time? And why didn't you last time? Why didn't you make sure there was why didn't you join Thomas Massey? So those would be the questions. No one's asking her those questions. And so now she gets to say this. So the next bill where we have zero leverage has to have health care. So now we're going to take care. In the middle of a pandemic, your leadership didn't make sure health care was the first thing they took care of. And by the way, you know how your leadership's going to take care of it, Ocasio-Cortez? How Nancy Pelosi is going to take care of health care is she's going to make payments to insurance companies, not to people. She's not going to give people health care. She's going to give money to insurance companies. She's going to pay people's COBRA when they lose their job during this pandemic. That's their solution, to make sure you have profit baked in. Just ridiculous. You just expand Medicare payments to everybody's health care. That's it. Just like Trump is doing for coronavirus. Anyway, and you're not, and I guarantee you she's not going to call out Nancy Pelosi for doing that. She's not going to call out Nancy Pelosi for, instead of expanding Medicaid or Medicare to cover people when they're losing their jobs. Half of LA County doesn't have her job right now. Did you know that? Half of the people in LA County don't have a job right now. So instead of decoupling finally your health care from your job, which is ridiculous. Now we all see how ridiculous. Instead of doing that, the Democrats are cementing that we can't. No, we're keeping that. We're going to pay your COBRA. What? No one wants that. And she's not going to call her out. I hope I'm wrong. So I'm going to pressure her to call out Nancy Pelosi. And I urge everyone else who has a platform to pressure her to call out her leadership, because the problem is Nancy Pelosi. The Republicans are ready to make direct cash payments to you guys, and Nancy Pelosi stopped it. They're ready to give health care to you. It's Nancy Pelosi who is stopping it. And so I urge you to pressure AOC. I don't have any pressure on her. She says, listen to me. Although I think this is probably a response to all the badgering I've been doing the last couple of weeks on her bullshit. Because I'm the only one doing it. So hopefully it's having an effect. We'll see. But let's get back to this video.
Every month, recurring for these families, and to also make sure that we are including immigrants and our immigrant brothers and sisters and neighbors in these bills. You know, the most heavily impacted district.
Yeah, you didn't even include anybody except the rich people in that first bill, just so you know, FYI.
And the most heavily impacted zip code in the country is also in my district, and it's heavily immigrant, overwhelmingly people. Which,
honest to God, I'm having a hard time listening to this, even though I already heard it twice. I'm having a hard time listening to it hearing her say these things. But how about how her district is the biggest victim of the coronavirus, which I don't challenge that, which makes it actually extra horrible that you let that bill pass without getting them anything. That without calling out your leadership or anything except pretending it was the Republicans' fault.
Can I ask something, Jimmy? Do you think on this next one they're going to do a voice vote? Do you think they're going to allow that?
We'll see.
Because
I bet they will.
I'd like to hear her voice demanding.
Yeah, she's not going to do that. She's not ever going to cross Nancy Pelosi.
She's not crossing Nancy Pelosi.
This
they already did the cover
talk.
Rolling Stones together.
This is all talk. This is all talk.
Of color.
Because she has no leverage now to get this done. There's no leverage. So if this gets done, it's because the Republicans decided to do it. Or it's because Nancy Pelosi, you see how Nancy Pelosi is going to take care of the healthcare problem. That's not taking care of it. Here we go.
And as we've long been saying, that these inequities are a pre-existing condition. Not having access to healthcare is why people are dying. Not making, having pre-existing conditions because they have confronted the asthma and the elevated lead levels that come from environmental racism and concentrated pollution in communities of color and working class communities is why people are dying. It is the compounding effects and the comorbidities that are leading to the surge of deaths in our communities by COVID-19. But that being said, when we talk about the solutions that Congress needs to have moving forward, I just think it's important for us to say that incrementalism is not helpful in this moment.
Really?
It's not helpful for people to say, oh, well, we got something, so we might as well support it. We got a nickel, we got a dime in $1 trillion bill, so a nickel is more than nothing, so we should support it, is unacceptable.
Who voted for
Not
it?
in my
So why don't you call out anybody for that? Why don't you call out your leadership for negotiating that bill? I've been saying the same thing. Everyone's been giving me a hard time saying Ocasio had to vote for it because we need to get those crumbs. She's still kind of operating like she voted against it. Do you notice?
Yes.
Yes. It's kind of funny because we know she did.
community, a nickel doesn't help. It's like putting a Band-Aid on an enormous wound. It's not going to help us. And the thing is that I would be amenable to accepting this kind of logic if Congress actually was in session and convening. But if you're going to...
Why isn't Congress in session? Who did you vote for leader? Who's the Speaker of the House?
And if we're going to say that this new bill is going to give us $5 and then Congress is going to peace out for another month-long recess, I'm here to say that that's not going to help our communities. And we have to make sure that we demand meaningful change and meaningful assistance for working families.
From who? Who are you demanding it from? When you say we demand, who are you demanding it from? Who are you negotiating with? Is it the Republicans because the Republicans don't control the House? Is it other Democrats? Is this who you have to ask for to take care of workers, other Democrats, and your leadership, Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer? She'll never say it, which means Nancy Pelosi is going to continue to do it, and you're going to continue to get screwed, and she's going to continue to give speeches like this, calling out to demand from who? I don't know.
That means $2,000 a month plus $1,000 for your kids recurring.
And how are you going to get that? What is your leverage now to get that? No leverage.
That means everyone who needs to go to a hospital can go to a hospital without their last words before being intubated, being how much is this going to cost me, which is what is happening in our district. Their last words about being uttered about people being worried about the financial position that they're putting their family in because they contracted a virus that they have no control over contracting. And then lastly, we have to make sure that all people in this country are successfully being covered so that that can enable the public health provisions.
Why didn't she say Medicare for all?
She just said it. She just said it. We have to make sure that everybody is covered. Covered? You mean covered by Medicare? That's not how you cover.
Mm-mm.
She means covered. She means has insurance. Come on, you got to laugh a little. I know it's painful. You know,
are necessary, because this isn't about who's an immigrant and who's a citizen and who's a legal resident. Coronavirus doesn't care about your status. Coronavirus doesn't ask you for your papers. And if we need to keep people inside, to keep them alive, then we need to give people the economic ability to do so. And we need to be laser focused about that. We cannot roll over to this administration for that. And
No, you rolled over to Nancy Pelosi. So do you see the little gaslight there? Oh, it's Trump? No. It was Nancy Pelosi.
We cannot bow to the logic that a dime and that a crumb is better than nothing. We need to be able to play hardball so that working families can get meaningful support that they need.
She's not even willing to call out. Again, I know I'm a broken record, but we need to play hardball. You're not even willing to call out other Democrats who voted for this. You said, I'm not going to slight anybody who voted for this. Why? Why wouldn't you? And then why wouldn't you call out your leadership for negotiating this bill and then having a vote where no one's held accountable? You won't. So when she says we have to play hardball, she's lying that she's going to do that, because to play hardball, you have to play hardball with your own leadership. That's hardball. Softball is saying they're the blame. They're to blame. That's softball. Hardball is actually confronting the person who's in the way, and it's Nancy Pelosi.
Text of this bill, but why
aren't they in session right now? Is that Nancy Pelosi's fault? Is that Donald Trump's fault?
And say is that if it matches up with what has been reported, I will not support this bill personally. I'm not speaking for a caucus.
So does that mean when you say not support it, you mean you're still going to vote for it if Nancy Pelosi tells you to, but you won't support it 2 weeks later in an article? Is that what you mean? You notice she's not saying I'm going to vote no. She's never said that yet. Here we go. Let's see. Maybe she'll say it.
I'm not speaking for a delegation, I'm not speaking for anybody, but as the person who's representing the most impacted district in the country, my constituents are upset. My constituents were upset about the first package because it is insulting to think that we can pass such a small amount of money in the context of not knowing when Congress is even going to reconvene, and pass such a small amount of money, pat ourselves on the back, and then leave town again.
Yeah,
I am not here to support that.
You did that.
I understand that we keep being told this is going to be happening in the House bill when the Democrat-led bill is going to be bigger. In my district and in New York City and in our community, we have had more deaths than 9/11. Multiple times of 9/11 have happened in the time since Congress has recessed. So I'm not here with the luxury of time. I need legislation that is going to save people's lives. And the fact that Republicans do not want to have recurring payments, the fact that Republicans don't want to fund states and cities, the fact that Republicans don't want to guarantee people's health care is unacceptable to me. I know that is unacceptable to all of us. And how we come on this bill, every vote is extraordinarily personal. But as someone that has to make calls every single day to sons and daughters and widows and parishioners and church leaders and community boards, giving them my condolences every single day about people in our community who are dying. I am not here for a $5 bill. I'm not. And I will not insult my community with one. And that's all I got to say. I think it's important for us to understand the process, because there was a related question about UC and voice votes earlier. I think it's very important that we all understand the process behind this. And I'm sorry to get into the weeds, but procedurally, we need to know the context. So first you have unanimous consent, which would be passing the bill, assuming that there is complete unanimous consent in the House. That basically is saying, presuming every member supports and every member does not support. Now, there was a statement earlier saying that the last bill was passed by unanimous consent. It actually was not. It was passed by a voice vote. So what happens is that you have unanimous consent, then you have one member, they did not try to pass by unanimous consent on the first time because they knew there was just a growing opposition around it. So it passed by a voice vote, by people kind of hollering out the yays and nays. Now, in order for
people kind of hollering out their yays and nays. Oh, it sounds hard to discern.
So they didn't have, so what happened was Thomas Massey, the Republican, called for a recorded vote. I think that's why they didn't get unanimous consent. And you notice she didn't say, we had to, because I demanded a recorded vote. We didn't get that because I demanded. No, it's because someone demanded. That's interesting.
To be a recorded vote. If one person stands up and asks for a recorded vote, that is not sufficient to actually get that recorded vote. It's sufficient to block the unanimous consent and move it from a unanimous consent to a voice vote. But one person standing up is not sufficient to move from a voice vote to a recorded vote.
So the person who did that, because it was going to just pass on unanimous consent until Thomas Massey said no. Let's have a recorded vote, and so now they got to do a voice vote. And he said he called for. He said, "I don't think there's a quorum. I challenge that." Anyway, she's leaving out the part where it was Thomas Massey, not me. I was willing to allow it pass with unanimous consent. There's Thomas Massey, not me. This thing that I'm railing about and that people are angry about in my community, I have nothing to do with it. Except I voted for it. And I didn't do anything to stop it, except give a bullshit speech where I made pretend it was the Republicans' fault.
You actually need according to House rules, you need 1/5 of the quorum, so about 44 members, to stand up in order to achieve a recorded vote. So the real question is not, is there one person to stand up to get a recorded vote, but are there 44 members willing to stand up and get that recorded vote?
And was I one of the members that stood up to request to get a recorded vote? Is there anything on record that shows that I was saying it's a shame we don't have a recorded vote?
I don't know. Maybe she tweeted about it. She tweets about everything. Maybe she tweeted about that. Probably not. Anyway, here we go.
It comes to that calculation, for us, and
Listen to this.
I believe Justin and Mosh and I came to a similar conclusion on the first one, which is that, to stand up and ask for a recorded vote when there are not 44 members, it would be essentially to needlessly endanger folks. So I think when you
I don't know. Did you hear what she just said, Steph? She just said, I'm going to play it back. She said, so for me to stand up and ask for a recorded vote when I know there isn't enough people or there aren't 40 people going along with it. First of all, I don't know if I'll challenge the veracity of that number because anyway.
There's a certain quorum that they're supposed to get. Right.
But
out of what is it, like 241 in the House? So
let's listen to it again.
You think like that would be us for example, 44 members. It would be essentially to needlessly endanger folks. So I think we need to.
So if she stands up and request a recorded vote when they know they don't have the 44 members available to go along with her, that would endanger other vote? I don't understand what she's saying. I'm going to back it up again.
You mean out of 435 members of House of Representatives, they couldn't get over 40.
They couldn't get 40 people to agree to
and I
a
don't
recorded
understand.
vote?
So they all weren't present.
Right. So you don't even, right. So that's why I think, hang on, I'm not a math surgeon. I can't do math. So let's listen to this again.
Vote when there are not 44 members.
Oh, hang on. So here she is. She's going to explain it again. So here's why she didn't. This is her explaining why she didn't call for a recorded vote.
Is that 3 weeks later?
This is 3 weeks later. This is why she didn't call for a recorded vote. Ready?
Stand up and ask for a recorded vote when there are not 44 members. It would be essentially to needlessly endanger folks.
It would be essentially needlessly endanger folks. I don't know what does that mean, Steph? Literally, I don't know what that means.
They're worried about Nancy Pelosi and anybody over 65 in the House of Representatives.
So why would...
She's more worried about elected officials' safety and health in that room, I guess, in close proximity to each other.
But she knows it wouldn't pass anyway. She's like, well, if we don't have 44 members to demand a recorded vote, if we don't have 44 members to demand a recorded vote, it won't pass and you won't get a recorded vote. So why wouldn't you want to be on record as having requested it? How does requesting something that's not going to happen, a recorded vote, how does that needlessly endanger people? Do you understand? Do you see the logic flaw there? Right? Do you see the logic flaw there? So that doesn't make sense. I hope I explained it. So she's saying the reason why I didn't also request a recorded vote is because it wasn't going to pass anyway. And so me doing that would have just needlessly endangered other folks. She said folks, not vote.
She did. She wasn't specific.
She said folks.
Which folks?
Which folks?
We tortured some folks.
You mean we tortured some folks? Those folks? So she wasn't going to call for a recorded vote. Just so I don't know. That doesn't make any sense why she couldn't also call for a recorded vote knowing she didn't have 44 people to make a recorded vote happen. So what if we just had 2 and one of them was you? So now you could say you called for it. But you calling for a recorded vote that's not going to happen, how does that needlessly endanger other folks? That doesn't make sense. Just so you know. Okay.
So I think we need to figure out what the final text of this bill is first and foremost. I think one of the things that is not in...
Who's writing the bill? Why do you have to find out what the text is? Who's writing it? Why don't you tell us who's writing it? Who have you made these demands to? When you go, this has to be in there. And who are you telling that to? Do you tell that to Nancy Pelosi, your leader? And what does she say? Could someone ask her that question, please? So these demands that you want, when you tell your leader who's negotiating the bill, what does she say back? Is your leadership on board with this? And if not, what are you willing to do to make sure the people in your community are taken care of?
This bill, thankfully, that was in the first bill, was this $500 billion to be leveraged to multi-trillion-dollar corrupt slush fund for Wall Street, which was, it added insult to the injury of an insufficient bill. But that kind of corrupt provision is not in this bill. So, I think...
You mean they already got all their money? Hey, we're not doing that again. We're not giving away another $5 trillion to the richest people in the country.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
We're not doing that again.
Really, you're not doing that again? Whew.
Oh,
man.
Whew, that's a close one.
Right.
It's just like listening to Obama. It's just like listening to Obama.
People have commented.
They know all the words. She knows all the words. As Chris Hedges say, she knows all the words. She knows how to play fealty to democracy.
Once again, at least so far. So once again, first of all, we need the final text in order to make that decision. But at the very least, what I'm hearing from Democratic leadership is to prepare for the conditions of a recorded vote. So that's just kind of a long way of saying we're not sure since we don't have the final. I'm not sure since I don't have the final text of the bill. As many people may know, and as some may know, I represent.
Oh, that's it. I think was that it. Let me hang on. Let me
check how many segments you have. I got you. No worries.
Hang on.
So
Take a
at
question.
well, I was wondering at the very end, right there, was she saying? I didn't understand what she was saying right now. The last statement that there's a lot. I still have to get through the bill and read it.
So
but
I'm not here.
I'm not sure if they're going to do a recorded vote.
Hang on. Can you let me play a little
Sure,
bit?
sure.
Amount of money in the context of not knowing when Congress is even going to reconvene, and pass such a small amount of money.
Do we hear this part?
Amount of money in the context of not knowing when Congress is even going to reconvene.
I don't know.
And pass such a small amount of money, pat ourselves on the back, and then leave town again.
She did that, yeah.
I am not here to support that.
Keep going.
I understand that we keep being told this is going to be happening in the House bill when the Democrat-led bill is going to be bigger. In my district and in New York City and in our community, we've had more deaths than 9/11. Multiple times of 9/11 have happened in the time since Congress has recessed. So I'm not here with the luxury of time. I need legislation that is going to save people's lives. And the fact that Republicans do not want to have recurring payments, the fact that Republicans don't want to fund states and cities, the fact that Republicans don't want to guarantee people's health care is unacceptable to me. I know that is unacceptable to all of us. And how we come on this bill, every bill.
How about means testing UBI payments that Nancy Pelosi wants to do? Is that okay? That was Nancy Pelosi's big idea.
Every vote is extraordinarily personal.
Just pretend that when she says Republicans, that's her code word for Pelosi.
Okay.
That's her code word.
But as someone that has to make calls every single day to sons and daughters and widows and parishioners and church leaders and community boards, giving them my condolences every single day about people in our community who are dying, I am not here for a $5 bill. I'm not. And I will not insult my community with one. And that's all I got. I think it's important for us to understand the process because there was a related question
I think we've seen all
earlier.
this.
I think it's very important that we all understand the process behind this, and I'm sorry to get into the weeds, but procedurally, we need to know the context. So first you have unanimous consent, which would be passing the bill.
Okay, yeah.
Assuming
We saw
that
Jim.
Unanimous consent in the House. That basically is saying, presuming every member supports and every member does not support. Now, there was a statement earlier saying that the last bill was passed by unanimous consent. Actually, it was not. It was passed by a voice vote. So what happens is that you have unanimous consent. Then you have one member, or rather, they did not try to pass by unanimous consent on the first time because they knew there was just growing opposition around it. So it passed by a voice vote, by people kind of hollering out the yays and nays. Now, in order for there to be a recorded vote, if one person stands up and asks for a recorded vote, that is not sufficient to actually get that recorded vote. It's sufficient to block the unanimous consent and move it from unanimous consent to a voice vote. But one person standing up is not sufficient to move from a voice vote to a recorded vote. You actually need one, according to House rules.
Wonder why she felt she had to take this stand and clarify 3 weeks later.
So the real question is not, is there one person to stand up to get a recorded vote, but are there 44 members willing to stand up and get that recorded vote? And so when it comes to that calculation, for us, I know, I believe Justin and Mosh and I came to a similar conclusion on the first one, which is that, to stand up and ask for a recorded vote when there are not 44 members, it would be essentially to needlessly endanger folks. So I think we need to figure out what the final text of this bill is first and foremost. I think one of the things that is not in this bill, thankfully, that was in the first bill was this $500 billion to be leveraged to multi-trillion-dollar corrupt slush fund for Wall Street, which was, it added insult to the injury of an insufficient bill, but that kind of corrupt provision is not in this bill. So, I think once again, at least so far. So once again, first of all, we need the final text in order to make that decision. But at the very least, what I'm hearing from Democratic leadership is to prepare for the conditions of a recorded vote. So that's just kind of a long way of saying we're not sure since we don't have the final. I'm not sure since I don't have the final text of the bill.
Okay, that's it. That is the end of the video. I thought there was more to it. Okay, that's it. What do you think? You know what I think. So I hope everybody puts pressure. There's nothing. They have no leverage. She has no leverage. She won't even call out. She'll never call out Nancy Pelosi, which means she has no leverage. She'll never. So we're going to get whatever Nancy Pelosi wants, no matter how much she rants and gives a speech about Republicans. You're not going to get anything. We're only getting what Nancy Pelosi wants. Okay? And she's already using Nancy Pelosi language. I'm sure she's already been told, use the word coverage. Everyone has to be covered. And she's using it. So what Nancy Pelosi's proposal is to fix healthcare, or during this pandemic while people are losing their jobs and then they lose their healthcare, her fix is to keep paying the insurance companies to cover you. By the way, that was a directive from the insurance companies. They wrote that in the letter to the Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic leadership, and they are doing exactly what they are told to do. Exactly what they are told to do. So there you go. That was all hot air as far as I can tell. She gave up she's not willing to call out her leadership to get it. And so she won't ever get it, what she wants, unless Nancy Pelosi says, okay. Again, she's not willing to use her following to threaten the Democratic Party. She's not willing to use her following to use it as leverage to gain real power, to get something done. She's not willing to do it. She went along with the first vote, and we'll see. They said there's going to be, so she said, prepare for a recorded vote. Why this one coming up? Oh, because this one is just going to have stuff to help people, but not enough to help people, because you already fleeced the country. So this one is not going to have a fleecing in it. It'll just be some around the edges helps for people, and some bullshit COBRA payment plan to give people health care. Yeah, let's add way more layers of bureaucracy on top of delivering health care to people when they're sick. Instead of they go to the hospital, they get sick, they get taken care of, they go home, the government sends the money through Medicare to the hospital. Now we got to have a COBRA payment that goes to an insurance company. And then I got to go see my doctor, and they got to call the insurance company and ask him if it's okay if he treats me, and if it's okay if I have this drug, and if it's okay if I have this drug. And they got to ask that person, and they got to have paperwork back and forth and images and hours on the phone, and that's how we do healthcare. And that's what Nancy Pelosi is hanging on to by her fingernails. And she ain't letting go. And Ocasio-Cortez ain't ever going to call out Nancy Pelosi's corruption. Nancy Pelosi is keeping you from Medicare for all. Nancy Pelosi is. And AOC is never going to call her out for that. Okay. When will you say yes to me? All right, let's take some questions, huh?
All right, JD. Thank you so much, everybody. Boy, come on, Jimmy. It's hard to watch that. It's hard to watch. You know, since 2016, that, starting to produce your own show here, and watching all the interviews that you've had and different guests. And then you see someone, an elected official like AOC, who, like, she of course, she's appealing and she's articulate, and we certainly want her to be that image that she's posing that she actually is an honest player in politics and will actually represent her constituency. And then you just see, I don't understand why she came out and was talking about this today. I don't understand what this was all about. I mean, this didn't say, I am getting you Medicare for all. I'm going to make sure that you are taken care of with a UBI. There was kind of like this, I don't know, just taking up space, saying a lot of nothing. Because what faith do I have in AOC that she's ever going to stick her chin out again for her constituency? It didn't happen when it was supposed to.
I know. Progressive news space can't even get them to. Okay, so I'm going to play this. I think this may be maybe an ad, pro-Trump ad. We're going to see.
But if it has music, get ready.
We turn now to that $350 billion fund to help.
Oh, maybe there is some music.
So I prefer, maybe send it to Ruby and see if she can check it. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
All right, let me do this. Let's see what this has. I'm at 523. That was Weldon. Hey, thanks again, Weldon. And then Jenna, JD, why do you always rub your left boob? Is it pierced?
No, I wish it was.
Ty the Hippo, you wear wigs, really, girl? Love you all at the Jimmy Dore Show. Yes, this is a wig. It's a wig. My hair, I have wigs. Jay Maceo, I love the show. I think you should explain the difference between having some elements of socialism without going full government owns everything.
Yes, that's what you know. What's funny to me too is when people say, "Jimmy, you hate government, but you want them to run healthcare." They don't run healthcare. They don't run healthcare for old people, for senior citizens, do they? But they pay for it. The healthcare is run by the hospital they go to and the doctor they see. The government pays for it. They don't run it. That's just such it's just like, you heard Sean Hannity say that, and now you repeat it. It's, okay.
Hey, Victor, you're talking about
Sorry.
Hey, Victor, you're talking about how to organize. And I mentioned in the live chat, I said we're going to have Jane McElvey on tomorrow at 3 p.m. And you can go on YouTube right now and watch her different lectures that she has about organizing. So right now, let's hold that conversation about where do we go, what do we do, how do we do it, and maybe have a conversation tomorrow with Jane. So I look forward to that. Hopefully we'll answer some of your questions, Victor, because you said, I was just looking how we can have a plan to move forward and organize. I know you're suggesting having a plan to move forward and organize. Gotcha. And on our website, we're also trying to collect directions on that kind of thing. Like if somebody's doing a wildcat strike, that we want to post that and share that and support them in that. So we're trying. We'll see how this works out. But we're going to do the best we can with the help of our viewers to make sure to add to that website. I'll show you later. Fantomas Fanto. Jimmy sing Joe Walsh, Life is Good. Thank you so much for the song request. Nil, Life is Good, Joe Walsh. You get my email, Steph. I did get your email, Nil. I even mentioned the other day. Did you send me another one? I'll look. All right. Hey, Carl Bruce. Jim, no, if Greg Palast or Nay one do an in-depth investigation of exit polls and likely election fraud. Yes, Greg Palast is a friend of the show, buddy. Yes, we've spoken with him about that before. Marvin Gaye, let's get it for Steph. Thank you, Nil. Carl Bruce, good time to drop Malarkey vid from live San Francisco show. Carl, you are right. Jimmy, the Malarkey vid. Big baby Zubas. Hey, JD, play the video game South Park, The Fractured But Whole. Please, I think it would be a great stress release. Be safe, brother. Steph, be safe too. Thank you so much, big baby. Seamus, how about singing on Days Like These? Popularized, I think, by Matt Monroe with Quincy Jones in the Italian Job. Thank you, Seamus. Big baby Zubas. If we don't have UBI, Medicare for all, etc., general strike. Yes, agreed. Shane Mallory, get Phil Spector wig, Jim. I used to have even more wigs. Oh, they're all gone. Shoot ski. David Peck, are there any true progressives in the House or Senate? I don't know, David. I don't know. Jimmy, Jim Jam.
Yeah.
Do you think there are any real progressives in Congress?
The last bill proved that there really aren't.
There's your answer, David. Cameron DeGray, stop treating politics like a team sport. Start acting like coaches, pulling bad players together when losing the game. We will never win a championship. See what I did there? I see what you did there. Kevin Johnson. Hashtag put people first after corporations and politicians. Thank you, Kevin. Evan NJ. I watched a video on how to build a guillotine the other day. Just saying. Thank you, Evan. Ruth P. Do you think voice votes and earmarks should be illegal? Jimmy, do you think voice votes and earmarks should be illegal?
Yes.
Jimmy says yes. Hey, Veg Doctor. There's a good reason identity politics gets used cynically by Democratic establishment. They count on AOC falling in line and progressive then being too scared to attack her because she's not some white guy. I think there's some truth to that. Nil. Andrea Bullshitter Cortez equals more theater. Thank you. Jim Garrison, crumbs are tasty, Jimmy and Steph. Ha! Ruth P., if you haven't already, can you do a show on direct democracy? Thank you, Ruth. Ethan Bacalar's AOC must have been the most annoying bartender ever. Cool Blue 71. When ours in the U.S. House, while Barack Obama was president, they passed anti-Obamacare bills. Now they have the U.S. House with Donald Trump president. They offer no bills to pass Medicare for all. Right? I gotcha. Seamus Warren. Is there a green in AOC's electorate? We need a real progressive to represent the most impacted district in the country. Yes, we do. Oh, you're right there, Seamus. BK paid Medicare for all, a UBI of $1,000 and charge $950. Hey, Capone Jones. Hey, Jimmy. I was born in 1988. How depressed should I be that Trump has probably been the best president of my lifetime? Hopefully there's better. Hopefully we got something better in our future. AOC just said COVID has killed multiple times. The 4,000 killed in 9/11 since their recess, 3,000 in 9/11. She's incapable of telling the truth. It's official. She's a real Democrat. Hey, Errol Kim. Thanks for the shows. Very entertaining. Platitude, Platypus. Nancy Pelosi is almost 50 years older than AOC, and yet she's the one unable to stand up. Disappointed. BK, so it's time for a third party, American Party. I like that. Shane DeZ, I think AOC is sick. She's suffering from Latinitis, the inability of some Latinas to apologize when they've fucked shit up. Latinitis, untreatable. My mom has Latinitis.
I don't think that has anything
Most
to do
of
with
my
Latin.
aunts too. That's funny. Nil. It will endanger her party loyalty. Yes, it will. Tamara, thank you. We need progressive international. You got it. The real Bambunga. And if we're going to send our votes to harm's way, we need to be sure of victory. We can't endanger votes. Folks, vote, folks. Trump is bad. And that was from the real Bambunga, Jessica Morris. I took what AOC was saying about endangering folks was her saying it puts those people voting on blast. Cool Blue 71, isn't it amazing how Democrats act like they are weak and incapable, even though they're dominated with Russiagate propaganda for 3+ years? Sage and Fool. She's talking about endangering the folks who stand up for a recorded vote like Massey was pilloried. The real Bambunga. Who is writing the bill? What is tallying the votes? Where's the only person who said nay? What is it at bat? The logic of AOC. Massey was the nay. Cheers all. Thank you for keeping it real, Jimmy Dore. Red River Organics. Nil. You're beautiful today, Steph. Hey, Talos Virgin. We should get commercial in AOC's district asking questions should she answer, the way at least her people know what's happening. I like that. AOC arms go up /down she BS. Jonathan, if recorded vote was unhealthy for reps, then she had, listen to this one, Jim.
Yeah.
If recorded vote was unhealthy for reps, then she had more bargain power than we thought and could have held out for reading bills, remote vote, etc. vote. I think they voted against the remote vote, by the way. I think that was something that they weren't allowed. I don't know. BK, simply democracy has 3 parties. Otherwise, it's called a game of us versus them. Now, an American party could really catch on in these circumstances. I hear you. Sam Crow Cali Dog, stressed out, pissed off. Did primal scream therapy in my car. Could use some magic mushrooms. Thanks for having Whitney Webb on the show. And Whitney Webb and Dylan on the show too. Thank you so much there, buddy. Hey, people who are organizing protests all over the country for reopening should be demanding, yes, UBI, Medicare for all. Instead, this is a huge missed opportunity. Let's hope they seize it. Louise Brooks. Hi, Louise. I don't know what on the bill caused Pelosi told me and Roe not to bother introducing anything. Tulsi probably would, but I can't talk to her in the lunchroom or Mama Bear will hurt me. Thanks, Louise. 2 times speed. AOC sounds like she's hitting the meth harder than Walter White. Thank you, the real Bambunga. Keep it real. I would not vote for any bill that they won't allow debates and recorded votes. I hear you. Keep it real. Diana, yes. Hey, Jimmy and Steph. Can ask the honest folk to contribute to Thomas Massey's reelection campaign. A disgusting swamp monster. Liz Cheney wants him out. Oh, my God. It's almost if Liz Cheney wants him out, it's like, yeah, keep him in. F all the haters. Never stop what you're doing. If I move to California, Emma need a job. Your perspective makes me feel less crazy. Hashtag corporate coup. Thank you, Brandon Pierce. The real Bambunga. Nancy Pelosi equals Cobra Commander. Ooh, Anthony. Oh, I'm almost done. I have about 12 more to go. Anthony, these are some of the most powerful people on earth. IDGAF, what their personal risk of danger is. They chose the job. Get their ises to Washington. No kidding, Anthony. Jenna, people at Polling Numbers on Twitter shows possible 269 electoral split. Seems plausible to me. How badly would that break America? 270 to win. Top Cop. So the insurance company gets paid for laid off workers who wouldn't have applied for COBRA, yet they laid off person can't use it because Pelosi won't pay for the deductibles and co-pays. Ugh. Hey, Brandon Pierce. AOC is the next iteration of neoliberalism. Hey, Funky Lollipop. Who's next to sell us out? Nina Turner? I'm going to say no. Chris Rawlings. AOC is considered one of the most progressive Congress people. Isn't that neat how that worked out? What sucks is Jimmy is right. What really sucks is she will never backtalk Pelosi ever. This is really effing depressing. All right. This is Biking Cat. Told you, virus, Medicare for all, Trumpian here. Oh, Trumpian, hello. Jeff Shapiro, I'm offering $100 for the first mainstream media who asks the right-wing nutjob protesters if they would be marching had the government paid to continue their paychecks a la Denmark, UK, Germany, etc. Thank you. Benno Witter, can't imagine how the cash grab by the 1% isn't going to end up a violent revolution once 99% are starting to suffer the consequences, especially when Pelosi being an uglier Marie Antoinette, right? Hannah Gosling, Tulsi stands against establishment, okay. Supported Dems pick as promised, brings us together. No one even close to Tulsi. We need to stand together. We need to stand together. Thank you, Hannah. Jake, how about Bernie supporters who were psychologically vulnerable and committed suicide because they were trapped inside and spent their last dollar in February in Bernie? AOC is cheat code to a DLC neoliberal wonderland. That was from Fatomas Fanto. The real Bambunga. AOC needs to meet BTK now. Bananas 1220. States are asking Facebook to even protesting the lockdown, and Facebook is complying. Blatant violation of our First Amendment rights. The unholy alliance of government and big tech companies continue. Dalter Bigner, F the government. JT, to answer about Greens going against AOC, I live in her district and the answer is no. I'm not voting for her. Right on, JT. Read Hart's Holtz. Sometimes going with your gut is better. I know, right? Victor T, I like the idea of paying and running the commercials to open up people's minds. I just feel we need actions to happen. But what actions? I know, Victor, I hear you. Did AOC get the $30 million for the art museum and the stimulus? Who owns that thing? Oh, I don't even know, Joshua. Jimmy, I hit all the chats, buddy.
All right, fantastic then.
Keep it real. I would not vote for any bill that won't have debates. I gotcha. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I covered it all.
Oh, fuck.
I got you, Benno. What happened? Did you miss something? You didn't cover something?
Ron had written all these great jokes for that AOC video, and I forgot them. Incrementalism is not helpful in this situation. Boy, I feel like I've heard that before somewhere. Only Republicans are against paying for the American people. I can't speak for any Democrats, though. See, Republicans are a fever. Corporate interests controlling our politics is COVID-19. Based on what she's saying, can we just replace all of Congress with the people in her district? They seem to be getting it right. Did she see all the footage of Chuck Schumer saying the solution to all this was low interest loans?
Oh my God.
Only Republicans are the problem. Democrats are definitely A-OK, according to AOC. She wants to provide relief to people, while Nancy Pelosi wants to provide relief to insurance companies. Tomato, tomato. We just need to replace Republicans with my colleagues and the donors who own them. Ah, I had the same idea for the joke, Ron. I said replace Republicans with Pelosi. I won't get behind another corporate bailout. I can't speak for my fellow Democrats, though, the ones I'm supposedly on the same page as. All right. Nice job, Ron. Nice jokes. All right. That's our show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you maybe tomorrow. I would really think
Yeah,
of...
we do. We have one. We have Jane.
Okay.
We have Jane on tomorrow.
Okie dokie.
Show me this beautiful. Will you show the other? Tell them. Throw the other. Throw to the other. There you go. Because I want to make sure that everybody sees our Join Us Strike, and check out our website, jimmydorecomedy.com, and check out that page. And Sean Graham, sending love right back to you, buddy. Thanks so much, everybody. See you tomorrow, or in español, mañana.
When will you say yes to me?
Bye bye.